Thanks to those of you who have checked out my Patreon, I am able to make a new series of Pokemon Epics, and a big shout out, of course, to the Nerd Therapist.
Hey Pokemon Masters, Pokekeeper Toby here, and this video is sponsored by none other than Pokemon Masters. That's a loading screen. That's the intro. There we go. We're into the game. I was hoping to play some of that incredible intro music. Awesome visuals and jolly music. This video is of course sponsored by DNA and Pokemon Masters. I am really into everything I've played so far, and of course you can download the game right now on the Google Play and Apple Store using the link at the top of the description. Absolutely would recommend. And so yeah, going into it, I knew I was going to try and do a review video. And this left me nervous for two reasons. Number one, I'm an iPhone user and they had to send me out an Android. Why don't Androids just work? I'm sure they do. I'm sure I just don't understand it. They're not as good as the Pori phone though, which is the new phone in Pokemon Masters. Once I got past that, I got into the actual game, and the game itself is fantastic. And that's where I got really nervous. Because if I'm being sponsored to do a review, am I allowed to be honest, and can I give you all my actual thoughts? And the guys at DNA were so kind and they said, yes, please tell us very honestly how you feel about the game. And it's great for all of us, because the truth is, I feel great about the game. Download it and see for yourself. That little bit of music that I was just bobbing along to, that's just the Pokemon Center theme. And in fact, once you load up the game, you are greeted to this screen with beautiful Ken Sugimori artwork, some nice music, and you get into the Pokemon Center, and you are introduced to the world of Passio and the Pokemon Master League, and it is all just so clean, charming, and character. Those are the two words that really describe this game. It's got a lot of energy to it, and if you get the chance to play it with headphones in or play it with the music on. Because it sounds fantastic. I mean, the polish on this game, this is a Pokemon title. This is everything a Pokemon title deserves to be. It's not buggy, it's not glitchy, it doesn't look unfinished. And the version I was playing, it was technically unfinished. But my experience so far has been incredibly clean. I think in the entire time I've played it, and I've played all 13 chapters, I've played a bit of co-op, I've played every single character I've unlocked, I've done the sync story, I'll tell you all about that stuff. But I've sunk a lot of hours into this game, easily like a day's worth of just full playtime. It crashed once, and I think that's just because I was tapping the screen ridiculously fast. For all of that, it crashed, I reloaded it, and it picked me up exactly where I left off. There was no data deletion, nothing. This game, it's solid. So it looks good and it functions very well, but what's all this about character and charm? And I think character is definitely the best word here, because this is a game literally about its characters. You travel around the island of Passio, an artificial island in the world of Pokemon created by someone called Leah. There are some other new characters like Paulio, but the big draw is the existing characters, the Pokemon Masters from all across the world of Pokemon. Seeing how they talk when you unlock them through the story, how they interact with you, how they interact with each other. How Brendan, a character that when you played as him in Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, he's a silent protagonist. Now seeing how he interacts with Norman, it's interesting. Seeing how an experienced Fire-type gym leader like Blaine tries to encourage a younger Fire-type gym leader like Flannery. Seeing how Rosa fangirls over Cynthia. Seeing these characters be characters. In traditional Pokemon games, gym leaders just stand there at the end of their gym waiting for your challenge, and they all have a bit of personality, a bit of character, but this is a game about the characters, about the Pokemon Masters. And I love that. The island of Passio has lots of colourful locations. There's also some interesting Pokemon that appear there. Usually, the Pokemon are in the companion of their trainers, although a mythical Pokemon shows up partway through the story. I'm not going to spoil which one, you should get there for yourself. But yeah, seeing little surprises like that, a mythical Pokemon that previously hasn't got much love is now in the game, just in the story, and I'm interested to learn more as I try to actually get to the end of the game. I was only given the first 13 chapters, and I want to play the rest. And the objective of the game is to travel around the island and complete the league by teaming up with other sync pairs. Sync pairs are basically a trainer and their preferred Pokemon. For example, you with your main character in the game, it's you and your Pikachu. However, if after part 1 you don't want to use you and Pikachu, that's fine. You can use any of the other sync pairs. You do not have to use Pikachu throughout the whole game. In fact, I wouldn't recommend it. The game wouldn't recommend it. You can store and establish lots of different teams of 3 because the battles are 3 on 3, and the game kind of encourages you to create different type combinations and to train up as many of the sync pairs as you can. Well, certainly I went right through the beginning of the game with a preferred set of 3. I think I had Flannery, and I had Brendan, and I had my main character and Pikachu. Pretty quickly, I learned that I wouldn't have the type advantages to get through, and so I'd have to use the characters that the game were giving me. I would have to go to the training menu and do the level up courses, and there's a strike course where you can unlock the ability to raise your level cap. There's an area where you can get items that allow you to learn new moves and that kind of thing, and I'd have to improve the sync pairs that I had and create different teams. On top of that, there's not just the sync pairs that you find in the story. There are also the sync pairs that you can get through the island scan using the Pori phone. When you go into the Pokemon Center, on the left-hand side, there is an area where you can exchange gems. Every 300 gems gets you another character, and you can scan for one. It gets you a sync pair. I was really hoping to get Chris. I still haven't got her, but I did immediately get Whitney, who I was like, well, obviously I've lucked into Whitney. I want to use Whitney and her powerful Miltank. And those gems, in case you're wondering, you get them throughout the course of the story. I haven't had the need to, buy any, and yes, there are microtransactions. Well, I say that there's one microtransaction, which is, do you want to buy these gems to unlock more characters? You can do that, but like I've said, there's no need. The whole game, it's free to download, it's free to play. This is the only microtransaction, and it is not in your face at all, which I really appreciate. In fact, it's pretty much only on 1 or 2 screens which you have to navigate to. It's not constantly telling you throughout the game, hey, buy more gems so that you can get more sync pairs to win. You don't need these other sync pairs to win. The story gives you everything you need. It is purely optional, and even then you can 100% the game and unlock all the characters without paying. So, big pluses in my books. Once you unlock a new character, you can go to their sync pair story to learn a little bit more about them, earn some more gems, or if it's a character that you've leveled up enough, maybe even evolve their Pokemon. So far, I've managed to evolve Price's Seal into a Dugong and Rose's Snivy into a Servine and then a Superior, which Servine has historically been one of my least favourite Pokemon of all time, and I've been forced into using it in this game, which, to be honest, I've actually grown a little bit, a little bit more affectionate towards it. Feet are still stupid, but it's alright, he's alright. I'm coming around. And absolutely, the charm of the game is talking to the sync pairs, learning about the characters, and then leveling them up to have the most powerful version of them you can. Speaking of power levels, one of my big concerns, and my concern when I first saw the trailer for this game is, oh no, is this game called Pokemon Masters gonna be easy? After all, it tells you the weakness of the opponent's Pokemon above their head. Surely I'm gonna hate that. No. In fact, I was really grateful for that because the way that the type system works has completely changed. Well, it's changed a little. Let's take a conventional Pokemon game like Pokemon Platinum and Starly. Starly is a flying type Pokemon and it's weak to the electric and rock attacks. Well, in Pokemon Masters, when a Starly appears, it is either weak to rock or electric. When you're getting ready to square off against your opponent, it will tell you the types that you might want to be bringing into the match that will give you some level of advantage. But that is still by no means a win-all. The battles are 3-on-3, and it's about coordinating your attacks very specifically. Each Pokemon has 2 move slots and 2 item slots, and these are items and abilities that are kind of just given to the Pokemon, and you can learn some new ones. And every 10 actions, regardless of what it is, you can use your sync move. Essentially a super strong final blow. In some cases it will deal damage to all your opponents, in some cases it will deal damage to one of your opponents. In Lucario's case, it Mega Evolves. Yeah, Megas are in this game. So yeah, I was using Karina and Mega Lucario a lot, but again, these power moves, it's not like that's just the game one, it's just that's going to deal a considerable amount of damage. You need to coordinate and time your attacks. See, there's this energy gauge at the bottom that increases as time goes on. Let's take Pikachu's Thundershock. It uses up 1 block of the energy gauge. If you use 10 of those in a row, then you can use Pikachu's big attack. However, those attacks are weaker. In Superior's case, one of the moves it can unlock is Giga Drain. That requires 3 energy blocks on the gauge, and of course is going to recover you some of your health, but obviously that means you're attacking less frequently. And this isn't turn-based, this is like real time, they're attacking you at the same time you're attacking them. They're attacking you as soon as their gauge is ready for whatever they want to do, and you're retaliating. There is a sort of autopilot mode that you can press, but that will not automatically win you the game. In fact, the AI does not always make the best choices, but I find the auto function useful for 2 reasons. Number 1, once you've got really high level Pokemon and you're wanting to grind up some of the lower level Pokemon in the training mode or by replaying some of the story, because you can replay previous chapters in the story, once you've got a Pokemon that is powerful enough to wipe out a lot of those lower level Pokemon in the training mode, it's nice just to have auto to play, just so that you can bring those other Pokemon up ready for proper strategic battles later on. But also, I found the auto mode would teach me things. For example, the auto mode, the AI, it plays sensibly. And in the settings, there's a button which allows you to speed up the game, and I enjoy playing the game on super, 3 times speed. And I let the auto run, and I watch the AI play, and then I kind of work out, if they had just done that differently, then they would have beaten, like, the Rapidash, for example. That was a specific battle. In Chapter 7, I got stuck against Blaine's Rapidash. I let the auto play, and it got the Rapidash down to, like, 2 health, and I was like, well, if it had just spent an earlier attack on Rapidash than one of the other Pokemon, then I probably would have won that, and sure enough, I was able to go into the game myself and work out how to win based on watching this automated battle. And it wasn't just Blaine's Rapidash I got stuck against. I got stuck against the first boss, Erica. I lost to her twice. I lost to the next gym leader, like, 3 times. By the time I got to the end of the game, it was pretty much a given that I was losing and would have to go spend half hour, like, training up and changing my strategy and changing up my team. And having a weakness there, knowing which types I should be taking into battle, made it a lot easier to focus my training on specific sync pairs. So, for example, towards the end of the game, it was like, look, if you want to win this battle, you're probably going to want a Water-type Pokemon. And all of my Water-type sync pairs were really low level, so I just spent a lot of time training up with Misty and Starmie and getting it ready to take on that fight. As of filming this video, I've yet to really jump into the co-op mode, but by the time you see next week's video, I absolutely will have. As for now, I'm going to give you the pros and cons of Pokemon Masters. The pros: the combat system is great and very different, and actually I would love to see something similar implemented into the main series, and it might, I feel like maybe I'm explaining this badly, but basically use the link, download it, play it, and see for yourself. I think the game really does speak for itself. It's terrific. Number 2, the story is very, very interesting. I am loving learning about all the characters. And number 3, the game is so well polished. I mean, it looks and sounds beautiful. I think you're all in for a real treat, and I hope you've been enjoying it. The cons, I don't really have many. I wish every trainer was in it. This is, from what I can tell, one of those Pokemon games where there's no catchable Pokemon in it. And for me, part of the love of the world of Pokemon is being able to catch them. You sort of collect trainers and their sync pairs, but then there's no compatibility with the main series of games. And if you were going to do anything, just like, for example, Pokemon Ranger, you kind of caught Pokemon, but you didn't keep them. In the first Pokemon Ranger game, you could get a special Manaphy egg. If there was some way of getting a Pokemon that could be transferred to the main series as a little token of the completion of the game, that is something I would personally really, really enjoy. And again, I could see this being the kind of thing where they could just keep on adding story or keep on adding characters. Pokemon Masters, the game, has completely subverted my expectations. I was not expecting it to be as absolutely fantastic as it was. I've been playing it non-stop. They asked me to play up to Chapter 10. I played all the way to Chapter 13, which is as far as I was allowed to play. I've unlocked over half the characters. I could say that I pretty well understand the combat system. I love it. I've had such a blast, and I think you will too. Link in the description. A absolutely massive shout out to Pokemon Masters and DNA for supporting the channel, for sponsoring this video, and there will be another video next week, where maybe I'll team up with a couple friends and talk some co-op. And of course, soar high, Pokemon Masters.
This is Ash Ketchum. You just watched a video by Birdkeeper Toby. That makes you a Pokemon Master.